Hi, I'm Miss Marcie, and you are listening to Conversations with Miss Marcie podcast. If you are looking for watered down conversations, this might not be the podcast for you. I'm just saying. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Conversations with Miss Marcie. I am Miss Marcie. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. And thank you for stopping by. And to my continued listeners and supporters, thank you so much for your continued listening and support. And to you all, you could be listening to any podcast, but you choose to listen to this one. So for that, I do appreciate you. All right, let's get into some things. All right. First of all, let's get into today's reflection. Oh my gosh, my throat is itching. Excuse me, y'all. I'm sorry. I just got done washing my hair and stuff. Well, washing my weave anyway. And I don't know if that might have did it or what. And then I got my air on and So anyway. All right, so today's reflection. Instead of focusing so much on a to-do list, I'm starting a to-be list. Things I want to be. Happy, calm, loving, healthy, and awesome. I like that one. But you know what? Let me give y'all two of them, because I posted this one on my Instagram and I liked it a lot, and I was, I want to share that one too. So this is the first time I'm gonna do like two reflections in one, because that one just made me think about the one that I just posted on my Instagram at Conversations with Miss Marcie. It says, I know everyone's talking about getting a bag as a response to everything these days, but get some rest, get some love, get some hugs, some enlightenment, some good intentions, some purpose, some romanticism, some integrity, some trust, some genuine connections, some happiness, some silence, some comfort, and most of all, some peace. Hey, yes, honey, yes. And then on the caption I wrote, my grandfather, who was a very well-to-do man, once said to me, money isn't everything. Now that I am older, I see my grandfather was right. A lot of what we need and acquire, all the money in the world can't buy. Yep. So true. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. Now, a lot of people are still talking about the whole Kevin Samuels passing, his sudden, untimely, demise or whatever. And a lot of people have things to say. But before we get into that, I want to say this. This whole thing with Kevin Samuels and just a lot of other things that are happening amongst people, people are coming down with sicknesses and stuff, and just things that are just happening out the blue and just unexpected. I look at this and I have to say it's very humbling, I think it's very humbling. It's, like I said, it's the things that are happening, especially amongst young people. And when I say young, I'm talking 20s, 30s, and 40s. And not to say 50s and 60s are old, but I'm just saying 20s, 30s, and 40s, those are usually the ages that you don't expect certain things to happen to you, because there's certain things you don't expect to happen to you, like getting your 60s and 70s and everything. And I think I talked about this before on a previous podcast, and it's just really, I don't know, like I said, it's just really it's very humbling. It constantly gives you a reality check. And I just look at how certain sicknesses and diseases and things that are happening to the body that's out of our control. Some people can't walk, talk, or even eat, eat the same anymore. Like I said, it's very humbling. But what it does is it reminds me that, excuse me, it reminds me that, first of all, there is no promise in life other than death. Like, for real, there is no promise and there are no guarantees in life. The only promise and the only guarantee in life is death. Now, I know to some of us that's scary. It's like, oh my gosh, that is it's a reality. It's a reality check, because it's the truth of it all. Death is the only promise. And number two, the way, health physically or mentally can change from good to bad is very humbling. The way, I mean, you could be thinking you're okay one minute, and then the next minute, boom, you know, you go to the doctor and you find out some shit, and you like, damn, I ain't even had no symptoms or nothing, you know. Or something can happen to you in life, like you could be okay in terms of your physical, I mean, your mental health, you could be okay, and then something can happen, something unexpected, whatever it is, it can happen, it can trigger your mind to start changing. You can start, you know, going down a path that you never thought you would ever go down in life. So it's, again, it's just very humbling. So it made me think of this. How in the hell can we as people think we better than one another? You know what I'm saying? I'm going to say that again. How in the hell can we as people go around thinking that we are better than one another? And I say that because I look at how people take use to social media or whatever, and just how people be all into, you know, status and materialism and everything. And it's like, you can't take none of that shit with you, or not even that, but just in terms of, like I just said, you know, you may go through something in life to where your health starts to change, and or your mental starts to change, and it's like, okay, and unfortunately, and I hate to say this, but especially when it comes to the physical part, we all are getting older. None of us are getting younger. Okay, none of us are getting younger. So it's like you're gonna deal with something at some point in your life. You see what I'm saying? So why is it that we put so much emphasis, like I said, on material things and money and status and shit, when at the end of the day, none of that really means anything? And I mean that. And I don't mean to sound cliche or sound like, you know, just trying to say some shit because it sounds good. No, because the shit is true. None of that means anything. Look at how the pandemic was like the great fucking equalizer amongst all of us. Rich, whoever, rich, poor, I mean, whatever, middle class, whatever. It's like at the end of the day, we all gotta get out of here only one way. And it's like, I mean, like I said, it's another one that I posted too on my Instagram. I said, whether it was a million, I said, whether it was 1,000, a million, or a billion, I ain't never heard a motherfucker taking it to the grave with them. And that's for real. It's not going with you. So why are we so obsessed with it? It's really temporary. It's just temporary. All of it. The material things, so I don't know. Like I said, I just look at it like, how in the world and why in the world do people tend to think that they are better than each other? We are from the dust, and the reality is that eventually we're all going to return back to the dust. We all put our pants on one leg at a time. We all are trying to figure out life. As we maneuver through life, we're all trying to figure this thing out. We all are. Everybody got something that they dealing with. Everybody got something that they trying to grow through. And you know, I just, like I said, just looking at how things are happening, and especially people's health. And me and one of my good girlfriends was just talking about this too, how, because she was telling me how she just went and got a mammogram. And she was telling me some things or whatever. And she was just saying, like, you know, it's something to be concerned about, because she said that she was like, you know, you turn around, every time you turn around, somebody coming up with cancer or something, you know, and it seems true. It's like, damn. So like I said, to me, it just continues to be a reality check, and it makes you not take life for granted, and just makes you be happy for the simple things, for real. And I'm that kind of person anyway. I don't have to be doing too much just to enjoy life or have a good time or really appreciate things. And like I just read on from my Instagram post, some things money just can't buy. Some things are just priceless. So yeah, I had to get that out because I was thinking about that shit. Like, man, this shit is humbling. So going back to the whole Kevin Samuels, just look at him. Look at how he sat up there on that platform. he sat on that camera weekly and talked all this shit. And when I say talked all this shit, I mean, he just really, he spoke some of his shit, like I already said before. Some of the stuff he said was really true and spot on. Some of the stuff that he said I could agree with, but some of the stuff he said I thought was very harsh. Because you don't sit up and tell somebody they're gonna die alone. Women like you gonna die alone. You're gonna die alone. You're like, that's that's kind of harsh. And you don't just tell somebody, oh, you're obese, you're fat, you're gonna die alone. But I will say this: he did make people be more realistic in certain expectations. And now I will say that, and I do agree with that, because some things you just come on, like it's certain things you can desire certain things or whatever. You can say, oh, I want this, I want that, I want a dude that make this and this and that, I want this and this and that. And I'm not saying people can't have the desires of their heart, but sometimes you do have to be realistic about certain things. You do. So I will say that I will say that I agree with him on certain things when it came to that. So anyway, but yeah, look how he set up on that platform and he talked, and he just was up there so high and mighty and blah blah blah, and then just just like that, one of the last posts that he post when he said women who made it to 35 and are single and not married, you are leftovers. Like, what the fuck? And then a few days after that, he just died. And he, like I said before, he died alone. Now, some people were saying that the young lady that he died with was an escort, but I think she was a nurse or whatever. I don't know. But, well, she said she was a nurse. She done shut her Instagram down too. She said, leave me and my family alone, is what she got on there. So, yeah. But yeah, so he died alone. He didn't die with loved ones around him. That shit is crazy. But like I said in my last podcast, I don't think his death needs to be celebrated. If you're the type of person that feels like, I ain't about to break out the champagne, but I ain't about to shed a tear, that's fine. And if you don't want to, if you don't feel like you want to have no sympathy or compassion for Kevin Samuels because he said a lot of mean things, that's understandable too. But I don't think celebrating a death like that is the way either. I don't think to celebrate it is the thing, because he was somebody's father. He had a daughter. Even though, like I told one of my friends, I said he didn't ever mention her. He never talked about her, never. So it makes you wonder how much of a father figure was he to his own damn daughter. I mean, because I feel like this: no matter what sector of what type of business you are in, if you are a proud father, if you are a proud father, a proud parent, period. If you are a proud and you are a involved parent, you're going to make mention of your child or your children at some point. You just are, because you can't help yourself. They're part of your world. They're part of your life. So of course. So anyway, like I said, people are still talking about his demise because it is shocking. It really is shocking. Like, oh my gosh, like he just literally just was here today and gone the next day. So people are still having things to say, like I said, and Vivica Fox, on Cocktails with Queens with Vivica Fox and Claudia Jordan and what was her name? Selena. Is it Selena? Selena, Vivica Fox, Lisa Ray. Excuse me. Oh my goodness. And Vivica had some things to say. Now listen to what Vivica had to say. Hold on.
Well, me and Lisa Ray both had the whole side eye. Like, what the hell? Is he kidding me? Healing? Healthy? This man was a hypocrite. In my honest opinion, he really was. I didn't find anything about him to be healing. He insulted African-American women on a consistent basis. One of his last statements that he said was that if you're over 38 and you haven't married or something like that, that you're no good and disposable. To me, he was a shock jock. And, I hope this is teaching folks a lesson about the karma that you put out, the negativity that you put out in the world, that when karma comes knocking at your door, she might not be so kind. So, the fact that he killed over real quick and was supposedly with a woman that we don't yet know the nationality, rest in peace.
Wow. I mean, so Vivica saying it's his karma. I don't agree with that. It's just hell. It was his time to go. I mean, I don't think it was karma though. Yeah, I don't think it was karma. But I mean, a lot of people. I mean, truthfully, a lot of people feel like Vivica though. A lot of people feel like, yeah, that's kind of they kind of feel like that's what he got because, like I said, like she just said, he told women they were gonna die alone. I mean, then it came back around, and I mean, that's pretty much what happened to him. You can't ever say how somebody gonna get up out of here. I mean, for real. So, and I will say that Kevin Samuels had a tendency to be very dismissive towards black women and things that black women would go through. Like he said that he never seen a woman, he never really knew a woman who got abused and stuff. And that's something that black women do deal with. As a matter of fact, it has been statistically proven that the black women have a higher chance of dying by the hands of a black man as opposed to any other race. So, and y'all know I watch a lot of Fatal Attraction, honey. TV1's Fatal Attraction and stuff like that. So, yeah, I see it on there all the time. Like, yes, it's been statistically proven that, yeah, black men can be very dangerous to black women. So, to the fact that he would sit on his platform with his millions of viewers and say that is just yeah, that was crazy. He was like, I only knew one woman that got abused, and he said it was his mother's friend, and that her and her boyfriend used to fight all the time. But don't sit up here and act like other women aren't going through that as well. So I thought that was crazy. He had a tendency to be very dismissive towards women's feelings and everything, and that's not cool. That's not ever cool to be dismissive of people's feelings, even if you don't agree with it, or as he said, never knew nobody that got abused or whatever like that. You still can't act like the shit is not going on, with other women. And so, yeah, I mean, some people say he just was a shock jock, but I also came across something else that I found was interesting as well. So as like I said on my previous video, I'm sorry, my previous podcast, he had a YouTube channel for a long time, okay, and he at first he was catering to men, trying to talk to men about dressed in a certain way. That's what he was trying to do. And the thing about it though was it wasn't getting any views like that. So there's this video that actually went viral where he's basically talking about how he figured that if he go in on black women, then his views and stuff will go up. Now, speaking of which, hold on, real side note. Remember, y'all, I was just talking about how things are happening with people and you just never know, and it's just scary, and it's just even within young people. So just like what's the Little Women Atlanta star? My friend, she sent me this, and I just came across it as I'm looking for the video that I want to show y'all about Kevin. That I want to let y'all hear about Kevin Samuels. Miss Juicy, she was hospitalized and she was in the ICU in late April for she had a stroke. Like stuff like that is just crazy. So but yeah, I'm sorry, I came across that when I was looking for this sound clip I wanted to share with y'all.
And a lot of times guys.
Okay, so now listen to this. This is Kevin Samuels basically talking about how basically it just confirms what we have been saying, that he used black women for shock value to get his views and likes up. So hear this, y'all. Listen to this.
Don't want to hear that truth. A lot of times guys don't want to hear that truth. We just don't. If I come on here talking about, female nature, such and so forth, and if I would start bashing women or talking noise, oh man, the likes and everything will go through the roof. But when you start talking, and a lot of times guys don't want to hear that.
See, y'all hear that? So that really shows that he literally did that. He talked about women for his likes and views to go up. And you know what's crazy? Okay, what's even crazy about that is this. So yes, he obviously did it for shock value. He did it. spoke about women because he knew that is what would get his likes and his views up. But also another interesting fact is that, okay, so we know he had 1.4 million followers. Well, 70% or 70% and plus, 70% plus were black women. 70% or more of his followers / subscribers were black women. And he made $3 million from black women supporting his podcast. They were purchasing and supporting his podcast, like all of that. They were supporting him. Black women. Can y'all believe that? 70%. That's a high ass number. Black women. Now, somebody said that the reason why a lot of black women supported him and tuned into his channel was because a lot of them had low self-esteem. Also, because they enjoyed watching other black women get, embarrassed and tore down. Imagine being some of the black women who did call into his show, and he, especially the one where he told her she was average at best. Imagine being somebody like that, or being the girl, one of the girls he told was obese and, she was going to die alone. Imagine having to go to work the next day and you're like, oh, you the girl that went viral, especially the girl he told her she was average at best. Oh my gosh. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so, certain things I thought was just humiliating, but me personally, I wouldn't have never called into that man's show. I wouldn't have never called into that show. But yes, 70%. What does that say about black women, though? And from my perspective, I think, I hate to say this, but it kind of makes you think, like, damn, do black women like being abused verbally? You know what I'm saying? Like, do black women, that has to say something? Or was it just the fact that he was entertaining? But even if he was just entertaining, why the number of black women who supported him, why was that number so high? And the way a lot of men support him, and they felt like he was the godfather, he was the holy grail of relationships and blah, blah, blah. You would have thought that number would have been higher for the men. I just thought that was really interesting. So, yeah, I don't know, some people were trying to come for Vivica because of what she said, but I don't, like I said, some people share her same sentiments, Yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's just very interesting. So yes, he did that video. That video went viral where he's saying, yeah, if I talk about women, my likes will go up, Let me say this. See, my thing is too, you can't really, okay, I used to think like Kevin Samuels when it came to certain things, like, oh yeah, men, you can't do this, you can't do that, or you should do this and you should do that to get a man or to keep a man. And one thing I learned is that there is no right or wrong way to date, and people set their own rules and their own tones. Just like, for instance, it's always been said for a long time, oh, if you sleep with a man on the first night, he's not going to respect you and he's going to treat you like a hoe. Well, then you turn around and you see some people who sleep together on the first date and they end up getting married. And they, like Shamari and Ronnie DeVoe, they said they had sex on their first date. And look at them. They're married, been married for years, got kids and everything. And I'm saying that to say that sometimes you hear all these rules of what you should and shouldn't do and blah, blah, blah. But I see things going the way people just want them to go. I feel like if you sleep with a man on the first night, if that man is into you and the vibe is good between y'all gonna still rock. Y'all gonna still rock with each other. Or you can you could not sleep with somebody for 3 months and y'all finally sleep together and shit go bad, shit go left, nigga end up ghosting you or some shit, or y'all just don't even talk no more. So I feel like if somebody gonna be an asshole and not rock with you, it don't matter when you sleep with them. And I'm using that as an example because sex is it's always been one of those topics that people would say, oh, when should you give it up? When should you not give it up? How long should you make somebody wait? And I remember Steve Harvey had the 90-day rule. That shit does not work. I do believe that 90 days, you do start to see people's real deal. Their representative does kind of start to leave the situation within 90 days. Because it's just like, even on a job, after that 90-day period, it's like the person's real work ethic starts to come out. Fuck what they said in the interview. The real work ethic comes out, whether they are a person that calls off or late or whatever. It's people be on their best behavior in the beginning. So I think that's human nature, though. But because nobody's gonna jump off the rip and tell you shit, they're gonna go from 0 to 10 and quickly as fuck, or you say the wrong thing to him and he gonna go upside your head, and nigga ain't gonna tell you that shit. But sometimes you can tell things from the beginning. You can tell just from certain, if you pay attention, you can kind of see certain things. But I'm just saying, overall, I just think that there is no right or wrong way to do things, there's no right or wrong way to date, for real. Like, it really isn't. It's all about the two people. And it's all about how much people are into one another. It just depends on how y'all click, how y'all vibe. It just all depends. Now, I want to mention this too. There was an analysis done in the African American, basically the Economist magazine. They did an article where they looked at the data. They looked at the dating and mating patterns of African Americans. And this is so interesting. They found that there was a significant imbalance between the numbers of marriage eligible black men and the numbers of marriage eligible black women. Now, this was like I said, in the African American community in America. And they connected it directly to Joe Biden's massive incarceration in the 1990s, which was actually driven by the crack epidemic. Y'all remember the crack cocaine epidemic, when the CIA dumped all that cocaine in the black community? So, there is a direct correlation in the percentage of black men who are incarcerated and the percentage of black women who get married. Because when the men got locked up, that lessened the eligible men for women. Ain't that some shit? That is some shit. So that speaks to why it got to a point where it started to feel like it was, so many, women to one man. While the women outnumbered the men. So also, the imbalance in the ecosystem of black men versus black women, it changes the behavior of the men and the women. They said that the women became more desperate to get a man because they think it's their fault. You know what I'm saying? That they don't have a man at certain points in their life. They don't they think it's their fault that they don't have eligible men. So they start doing all kinds of things out of desperation. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like the thirst traps you see on like social media. They start doing thirsty shit, shaking their asses and twerking all over social media, giving it up all willy-nilly and you know what I'm saying? Just now, I know I said ain't really no rules on how to give it up or whenever when to give it up. But I will say this, in this time and age, this day and age, honey, women, honey, listen, I'm gonna say this shit. This day and age, this time and age, women are giving up that box like fucking like whatever. Like, women are giving it up like quickly and just giving it up. Like, women are giving that shit up. Women are giving up the box frivolously, okay? Frivolously, like you're like a frivolous spender. Women are giving up the ass frivolously, for real. And I'm not saying all women, but a lot of women are. And I feel like this: every man should not be privy to your, you know what? Every man should not be privy to your stuff. Every man that you meet should not be privy to your shit. But I know hookup culture is a big deal. That's we are burdened by hookup culture when it comes to dating. And at one point in one point it wasn't like that. I remember when we were younger, it was like shit. It seemed like people dated and they just wanted to have fun, and of course people always wanted to have sex, because we're humans, but that wasn't a big thing. It wasn't the fucking end all be all. It was like, back then a nigga could meet you and just, if he was really feeling you, you was feeling him, that motherfucking nigga couldn't wait to be in your presence. Like, he just wanted to kick it with you, come get you, take you out to a movie, do this, do that. Now you got these niggas that want to just Netflix and chill because they feeling like, oh, well, I don't want to spend my hard-earned money, and she might not even like me like that, or whatever, and she probably fucking with other niggas, blah, blah, blah. But it's like I posted it, like I let y'all hear in my last podcast. Speaking of Kevin Samuels talked about that when he was like, nigga, keep your broke ass at home. If you can't spend $30 to $40, $50, $60, $70 or whatever on a date because you worried about, it's like, nigga, you ain't got no business dating no way. So you got, everybody's trying to protect themselves from getting played or whatever. And so it makes it less interesting to even date for real. You got these niggas that want to just Netflix and chill. But it's like, okay, you expect somebody to give up some ass, though, but you don't want to do shit. You want to do the bare minimum, if not anything. Everybody wants the benefits, but they don't really want to put in the work. And it's like, and then this whole gold digger shit, it's like, if a girl wants to be courted or whatever, you got men who feel like, oh, she's a gold digger. How is it a gold digger? And, you're not even, I mean, for real, I'm not trying to be funny, but it's like, it's not like most of these niggas out here rich. You know what I mean? It's not like, on average, it's not like we're dating rich men. So it's kind of like, yeah, I just think, sometimes I think that's a cop-out because people, like I said, some people just don't want to really put in the work to dates and really courts and get to know each other. So yeah, I think that if more women started to kind of keep their legs closed or whatever, I think that shit, more men will follow suit and start behaving the way that women really want them to. I mean, because think about it, men can't really move without women for real. I mean, shit. I mean, if you got like 10 women who, if a dude would meet 10 women in 1 week, okay, and if he's trying to smash all 10 of them women, and you got 8 of them, or not all 9 of them that's willing to give him what he wants whenever he wants it, they're not even willing to make him court them or nothing, that other woman, he gonna look at her like, oh, fuck her, she ain't talking about shit. Well, back in the day, it used to be that was the one he wanted. So like I said, if a guy meets 10 women and 9 out of those 10 women are willing to sleep with him, like on the first date, I mean, because you got people who, I've heard people say how, I've heard dudes tell me how they could meet a girl at Walmart today and be over her house by that night. You know what I'm saying? Hell, I remember I met a dude this was some years, this is probably like 2008, some shit like that. I met a dude at Walmart, matter of fact. Yep, it was at Walmart. Me and my friend was grocery shopping or something. And I met him or whatever. He was nice looking and shit. We exchanged numbers or whatever. And I remember he asked me to come over his house. And okay, so excuse me. Ooh. Okay, so anyway, I remember even back then, I was not big on going to no dude's house when I would first meet him, and I wasn't big on letting him come to my house. So, but this particular time, I was like, well, maybe I should kind of do something different, just kind of get out of my box. And I mean, I had friends who was doing it, so I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's not a big deal. I'll go over his house, you know how niggas do that. Be like, oh shit, we just gonna chill. I ain't gonna try to, we just gonna chill, watch football game or something like that. So I go over to the nigga's house, and he was cool and everything. He was showing me around his house and stuff. He had a nice motorcycle and stuff, and he had a nice crib or whatever. He was the type of dude you could tell he liked nice things and stuff. So we was sitting there watching TV and shit, and then we was sitting downstairs. So then he he said, oh, we gonna have to go upstairs. I'm laughing because y'all already know this some bullshit. So he was like, "Oh, we're gonna have to go upstairs and watch TV in the TV upstairs because that one got, you know how they got try to make it look like the one upstairs is what got the certain channel or with this got this hooked up to it. This the one upstairs in the bedroom is the one that got the cable hooked up to it or some shit like that. You know, just anything to get your ass in that room." So we go upstairs and shit, and I know me. I already know what I am and ain't gonna do. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I'm gonna see how far this motherfucker gonna try to go. So we go upstairs. The next thing I know, we in the bed cuddling, and I felt weird about that. We did not have sex, but I just remember feeling fucking weird. Like, hold on, I just met this nigga not even 24 hours ago at Walmart. Now here I am laying in the bed with this motherfucker. So, so I end up going home. It started getting late. You know, he was all like, you know, you could spend the night. You know, that was just the move. You know, that was the move. So I was like, nah, I'm gonna go ahead and go home. So I went home, and I didn't talk to him no more after that because I felt like the fact that I went over to his house like that, I already set excuse me, I had already set a tone. And I'm like, this is not going, you know, I ain't about to do all this shit. So, and that's when that's what, it just reminds me, that's why I move like that. I don't do all that. I know some women do, but that's my whole point. My point is there are more women who are doing it than not. There are more women that go to a dude's house and, you know, sleep with them or whatever than not. And I feel like if women start taking that power back and stop doing that, then these motherfuckers they'll start dating you and they'll start, you know, courting you more because that's what they used to do. You know, it's like they trying to get to, bottom line is this, we know what they want. We know what they're trying to get to, but it's like, yeah, if you kind of keep your legs closed and change it up a little bit, yeah, they gonna move different. But like I said, if you got 9 women out of 10 who's willing to just go ahead and do whatever, shit, that one, they gonna throw back into the sea like shit. All right, she ain't talking about shit. She difficult. That's what they do. Like that shit is crazy to me. And like I said, back in the day, I remember the time the difficult one was what they wanted. That's the one they was chasing. Shit, now that's the one they throwing back to the motherfucking wolves. Like shit, she ain't talking about shit. So, and I ain't even saying you gotta make a dude wait 6 months to a year. I ain't even saying that. I'm just saying, like, if women want to talk about how men don't court them and all that type of shit, then, you know, shit, I just think some things need to change for real. And it ain't about stepping back into the 70s and the 60s and the 50s and shit. It's just about taking back that power. Shit, for real. So anyway, but yeah, so that was, and wasn't that interesting from that article? Yeah, so, you know, I just think that, like I said, if we start keeping them legs closed, you know, more often, we'll see men move differently and stop treating women like we're just so disposable. So, going back to Kevin Samuels though, I think that Kevin Samuels made a lot of women feel lots of bad, you know, yet he, under the guise that he was helping the community, you know, I just think that he added to the divide. He added to the divide in the war between black men and black women. I do. I think so. Because at the end of the day, you know, we are all works in progress. Okay? We are all works in progress. All of us, black men and black women. And a lot of, you know, black people need to be in therapy. Like I said before, that we do. Shit, a lot of black people need to be in therapy. I just think that even goes back to the whole slavery, you know? So we all have things that we need to learn, and we all have things that we need to unlearn as it relates to dealing with a mate, right? But nobody should be torn down or thrown away, or fed to the wolves just because you are not a wife by 35, or you know, you don't know how to speak a certain way, or you know, you don't cook a certain way, or you don't behave a certain way. That's where patience and understanding and building with one another comes in, you see. And for everything bad that Kevin Samuels said about the black woman, I mean, we could counteract that with something about the black man. But again, that's that war that's been created. Oh, excuse me. So like I said, because we are all in work, we are all works in progress. Nobody should be made to feel bad or made to feel like they are just terrible or not worthy of this or not worthy of that. You know, and like I said, they shouldn't be told they're gonna die alone. Okay. Hell, there are people who are married and who are trying to figure this shit out. Matter of fact. And that's what I'm saying. Like, people need to stop making people feel bad about not being married or being in a relationship. Shit, a lot of people that's married, they're fucking miserable. For real. And you know what? I used to sit back and think, like, and this is no shade to nobody that's married or nobody that's divorced or nothing like that. But we as women, sometimes we sit back and be like, oh my gosh, when we're not married, we'll be like, oh my gosh, because again, society has done what Kevin Samuels was doing, making women feel bad when they're not married or they're not in a relationship by a certain age. And I used to sit back and be like, oh my gosh, she's married, they're married, or that girl's married, this girl's married, da 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 da. And you be thinking that they have the formula to get a man and keep a man and get a man to marry him. Make a nigga wanna marry me. Nah. But so you be thinking that they got it, they got the formula, they know what to do. But you know what? I've learned that hell, people who are married are still trying to figure it out, and they don't always have the formula. And it be shit that goes on. I'm gonna tell you, it be stuff that goes on out here in the single world. People playing games, people being lacking being vulnerable and transparent. That shit goes on in marriages too. And yes it do. I've talked to a lot of people, and I'm telling you, I be hearing stories like, what? Your husband did that? Your husband said that? Or what? Your wife did that? Your wife said, I don't say it to them, but I be thinking it like, what? I'm for real. It be certain games being played in marriages. For real. And you be like, oh my gosh. And like I said, some people that be married, they be wanting shit. They be miserable, and some of them be wanting to be single. They be wanting some of the single life. Real talk. So, don't ever let nobody make you feel bad because you're not fucking married. Don't ever feel like you're a nobody because you're not married. Like your identity is tied to you being married or whatever. That's not cool. And truth be told, like I said before, not everybody wants to be married. Shit, not everybody wants to have kids. I was reading something where they were saying that a lot of millennials don't want kids. That's why that Plan B shit is so popular. And they done passed the law, I believe it's in Tennessee, where you can't get a Plan B. It's like about to be illegal to get Plan B and shit. So yeah, I don't know, man. Yep. So it's a lot, man. And we just got to take things take a lot of things into account. And just because somebody overweight or whatever, or obese or whatever, shit, you don't know what people really like. There's a man out there. There's somebody out there for everybody. There's a lot of men out here who like big, thick ass women. For real. And they would have it no other way. But again, Kevin Samuels had this whole thing about a high value man, high value this, high value that. And I really do think that people think that the high value shit sound good because they just think it sounds good. It makes people feel like they have high standards. When the truth of the matter is, a lot of people really, excuse me, a lot of people really don't have high standards. A lot of people, and I'm not saying that they don't mean, that doesn't mean that they don't like what's good for them or what's best for them. But what I'm saying is all this high value shit I think is overrated. Like, for real, this high value talk. Because at the end of the day, a man who makes a lot of money is not necessarily high value. He's a high earner. Okay, he's a high earning man, but it doesn't mean he's a high value man. I got so tired of hearing that word, that term, high value. I want a high value man, a high value this, a high value, and it takes away from people who are average. And like I said before, it makes it seem like average is an insult. See, that's what I'm saying. Going back to the whole thing about the whole humbling and the whole, materialism and status thing. People, and see, that's what I'm saying. He added to that. People already have an obsession with material things and status, and I believe he added to that shit. And then also another thing, I think he kind of tore down some women's self-esteem when it came to looks and talking about who was a 10 and who was a 9 and who average at best and this and this and that. People already had an obsession with looking a certain way because of social media. And then he added this on, talking about people's looks and how an average looking woman, won't get a high value man because she's average looking. High value men only want 10s or better. Like, what kind of shit is that? Now, I do think that, and now here's what I will say. There is a correlation with men who have money and who have money. Y'all see that commercial with, what's his name? JJ from Good Times. I can't think of his real name. Jimmy Walker. That commercial with him when he be like, I can't remember. He be like something, money. I just thought about that when I said that. Anyway, so yeah, there is a correlation between men with money and pretty women. I do believe that men who have, men who are considered ballers or whatever, I do think that they tend to like to splurge on pretty women. I've always noticed there's always been a correlation. Even going back in the day, you had your biggest dope dealers or whatever, and they would like to buy really pretty girls nice things and stuff. That's why sometimes people feel like, when a woman is super super pretty, and let's first of all, let's keep in mind beauty's in the eyes of the beholder. You know what I mean? But I'm talking about a female who the mass would collectively say she bad or she is gorgeous, she is pretty, you know what I'm saying? Those kind of women, yes. Guys who are considered ballers, they tend to like to buy nice things for those women, and you know what I'm saying, shower them with gifts and stuff like that. But that's also another reason why sometimes those women are considered to be just beautiful and that's it. Just beauty, no brains, or beauty, but don't cook, don't clean, don't do shit, can't do shit, because they were easily kept women. They were kept women. Those were the kind of women that men wanted to just, all she had to do was sit and be pretty, sit, and he would keep her fine ass and Gucci and gold, So, and that, that type of woman didn't really have to focus on domestic skills and cooking and cleaning and shit like that because, so I will say that I'm not agreeing with him wholeheartedly, but I do say that there is a correlation, with that. But again, like I said, nowadays, people do like what they like, and not all the time do quote unquote men who have money or whatever, they're not always, gonna just go for the baddest chicks or whatever. Sometimes some men, they just want a woman who gonna be down for them, who gonna have his back, whether she a 10 or whether she a fucking 5. She got his back and she's loyal. Some men care more about that. I think at the end of the day, it depends on what people find value in. If you find value in having the baddest chick, a trophy chick on your arm, and you look like you that nigga, you got money or whatever, okay, then that's what you gonna go for. But if you the type of nigga, if you value a woman who gonna have you, have your back and be down with you like 4 flat tires, then that's what you gonna go for. Whether she, like I said, whether she a 10 or whether she a 5, whether she a 6 or whether she a 7, she gonna be bad to you. And that's all that's going to matter to you. So, all that stuff that Kevin Samuels was talking, I do think, like I said, a lot of it was for entertainment purposes. Not to say he never made no valid points, but I think his delivery is what threw a lot of people off because his delivery was very harsh. And, we, like the saying goes, honesty without compassion is brutality. So he was very brutal in his delivery. So but again, I think it's crazy that a lot of women did support him. So shit. But yeah, so I think that is what I wanted to say on this. I think I said everything. Let's see. Yeah, so I think that was it. So I'm gonna go ahead and let y'all go, give y'all the rest of y'all day back or whatever. And I will catch you guys in the next podcast. So yeah. All right, y'all be easy, and until next time, and thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to follow this podcast, and don't forget to share this podcast, and thank y'all so much for tuning in. That's all I got for now. Till next time, peace. All right, guys, that's a wrap. And once again, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Now, don't be stingy. Go ahead and share this podcast. And don't forget to follow on social media. Remember, you might get glad about what I said, or you might get mad about what I said. Either way, I said what I said. Till next time, y'all take care. Bye.